So we are going to do this in Roll20 in this, and I'll pull that up as the app. You may have to download that. It should pull you up to the app within the Google Hangout. I'm doing that because they have a pretty good fill-in character sheet form there that we'll use for character creation. I'll show you how that works in a minute. So what we're going to do today is we're going to take the first chunk, and I'm going to walk you through very conventional vanilla Fate core character creation. Essentially, we're just going to go with the default fantasy setting for that. Show you how that works, talk a little bit about the other collaborative tools that Fate core has. And then I'm going to do just a real quick scenario, essentially present you a situation, a problem, and that way we can kind of play out and you can see how that works actually in play. Are there any questions before we get started?
Okay, so you want us on the Roll20 screen then? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I'll pull up the app for that, so you should be able to get into there.
I think I got it. I mean,
okay,
starting.
Yeah, I see you in there, Kyle, and I see you, William.
And I can never remember how to, oh no, wait, is it avatar size names only? Okay, got it. Got it, okay. Yep.
So you should be able to click on that. Okay, awesome. Yeah, and the names only thing is the thing I always forget because I have that set as the default. So is it Matthias or Matthias?
Well, actually, it's Matthias, but
Matthias. Okay.
I've heard every version of it, so you can choose one.
Matthias. All right. So if you click on the Roll20 screen, if you haven't done this before, under My Settings, it's on the far right-hand side of the screen on the Roll20. You click on that little wheel, and you scroll down, and you'll see a thing that says Player Avatar Size. And you set that to names only, and that will clear up some space on your screen there.
Oh, and you can also zoom in and out right on that screen itself. I didn't realize that's what that was.
Yeah.
That little slide bar.
Well, that does open up more space, yeah. So now I know, William, you've done some play with Fate before.
With the GM that was learning it as we went.
Okay,
yeah.
All right. Matthias, what has been your experience? Have you looked at the rules at all?
Yeah, I was. What would I say? I've read through the Fate accelerated rules.
Okay.
And looked into the core rules, but I was always quite intimidated to.
Oh, okay.
With the aspects and so on. So I never really got into it. So.
Okay. And Kyle, how about yourself?
Absolutely zero.
Okay.
Experience. Yeah.
So I will admit that the first couple of times that I read Fate-based rules, I did not get it at all. And then there was some version of it that I read that I finally kind of got how things played out, and we started playing with it, and we enjoyed it. The primary thing to realize is that it is a roll plus skill number game. Generally, for most things, you're rolling plus adding a skill number. You're using their Fate dice, and that margin of success or failure determines the final result. Now, added the complications to that are the ability to modify your roll, to re-roll, to do a number of different things with the aspects, and we'll kind of talk about how that works. So the syntax for rolling under Roll20 is slash roll 4DF. Write that here.
Okay, why am I not seeing the chat now? Oh, there it is.
William, can you, no, can you repeat that?
So it's /roll /space roll 4df.
Okay, got it.
And so the one thing that you will realize when you start playing with this is these are incredibly unkind dice. While they usually, because they've got the pluses and the minuses and the zeros, they should tend towards 0, but it will feel like they are just awful. They are working against you. So it does run from -4 to a total of +4. You add that to your skill. Generally, for most basic stuff, you want a 1 or better to succeed. It's got a very kind of tight margin of success. While the rules have things listed by fair, good, and list the number associated with them, I always use the numbers to talk about it because it's easier than remembering that chart. I know some people play with it, in a more flexible way. So let me quickly talk about how Fate sets up collaborative in the Fate core book. What they do is they have a suggestion here. Of course, this would be if you weren't playing a setting that you'd already had set out. The players can get together and decide, obviously, what genre they want. And there's the idea that the players then together come up with a set of what they call issues. These are the goals for a particular campaign or a particular scenario. They come up with that, and collaborative between the players and the GM, they come up with some characters and so on. So they've got, basically in the Fate core book, some very basic tools for doing that. We've used other collaborative tools when we've played these games. We've used Microscope to build a history, and then we've played out of that a couple of times. Or we've used a thing where we collaboratively built a city, and then we've played out of that. But Fate builds sort of into its DNA the idea that you can just get together with the group and come up with stuff and play off of that. So we're going to build characters, and character building works in sort of 3 major stages. We're going to build the aspects for the characters, and then we're going to pick some skills for the characters, and then you'll have a chance to pick out some stunts, some special abilities, essentially feats for your characters. So imagine that we're going to do a very conventional fantasy thing. Essentially, you're going to be sent on a mission. So you guys should think about now what you want to do in terms of just general character description. What kind of character do you want to run? And this could be the most basic kind of descriptor. One of the things that Fate doesn't do, it doesn't usually have racial packages or anything like that. You work those elements into your character description. And the first thing that we start with is the idea of the high concept. And your high concept is the big aspect, is essentially the description for your character. So let me give you some examples from the Fantasy City Guards game that I'm running right now. We have one person who is a proper duelist, is essentially their high concept. We have another person who is an underestimated foreign rogue. We have another person who's described themselves as a forgetful elven wizard. So essentially it's both a descriptor and kind of an explanation of what kind of class you would call yourself. So does anybody have a particular preference for what they'd like to try out today?
I'm pretty much open to anything.
Okay.
Are you looking for us to fill in some sort of like standard criteria, or is it pretty much just wide open?
Whatever you'd like to goof around with today in a quick scenario.
Mm-hmm.
Magic, non-magic, fighter, thief. I would go with classic archetypes.
Okay, I'll pick some, I don't know, a thief and
Okay.
Unlucky thief. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's okay.
Unlucky thief. Okay, and I'm going to come back to that in a second, but we'll take that. We're going to start that as for the starting high concept here. William, what are you thinking?
Let's go with mysterious elven ranger.
Okay. Mysterious elven ranger. Okay. Kyle?
I'm going to go with a troubled human mage. Yep.
Okay.
And the pen that I chose just ran out of ink. I will be back in 10 seconds.
Sure, absolutely. So I am going to right now assign each of you guys a character book. Let me see here. Edit this. And that for William for 1. Edit. Kyle for 2. Edit. Dice for 3. Okay. So let me talk about what high concept does in Fate, and we're going to kind of go back and we're going to look at what we've come up with there as high concepts. We're going to kind of tweak those, and this would be the thing that I would do usually at the table when we're doing kind of collaborative character creation. So the high concept describes your character, and then the other thing that you've got below your high concept is what we call the trouble aspect. And the trouble aspect is the thing that essentially gets you into trouble. It can be a troubling personal relationship. It can be a character flaw. It can be, just a general problem with your personality. So, Matthias, I'm going to actually come back to you. And one thing we can do is, for your trouble aspect, we can actually pull that unlucky that you mentioned, and we can actually make that something. So you're unlucky. We kind of maybe we can narrow that down. What is he unlucky in?
Maybe in the past, he might have some kind of problem with a bigger thief gang, or lost his family, or some kind of. I'm not sure quite the scope, how big. What can you send some examples? What
well, I like what you said there about rival thieves, and that could be a classic trouble aspect is like rivalry among thieves, or the thief guild hates me would be another classic one. Those would be ones that you could use that could come up in the course of a game. Do you like either of those or some variation of that?
I like thief guild hates me. That sounds
okay.
That.
All right. And so we're going to keep that as your trouble aspect, and I'm going to come back to your high concept in a second, and we're going to see if we can kind of tool or make that a little more interesting. So, William, you've got the mysterious elven ranger there. That seems fully complete. You've got the mystery you can pull on. You've got the elf background to kind of set your profession there. Do you have an idea of what kind of thing holds them back? What is their trouble?
Let's go with being an outcast. Stranger in a foreign land, something like that.
Okay,
He's
I like
banished
that.
So he's banished from his elven. Yeah, that's why he's mysterious. No one knows him here.
Stranger in a foreign land. Okay. And Kyle, we're going to come back up to you, and you said troubled human mage. What kind of trouble are you imagining?
I think that maybe there's some sort of curse on his family line, and that once they reach a certain age, maybe something bad happens to them, like some sort of disease or something like that.
So maybe he, like, fear of impending doom, something like that.
Oh, sure, yeah, absolutely.
Fear of impending doom. Okay. And I'm going to come back and we're going to kind of revise your high concept here in a second. Let me talk about, before we kind of get to what we're going to tool those, the mechanical thing that aspects do in the course of a game. You're going to have a currency, and that currency is fate points. And that gets spent during the course of play to do one of three things when we're in a scene. You can either add +2 to a roll, and you do that after you've rolled. You get to say, okay, I want to add +2, or you can re-roll, or you can also use your aspect to kind of change up a situation. And or talk about what that means. It's very vague that I'm saying there.
Is the re-roll?
What we do,
Sorry, is the re-roll for one die, or is it for the whole set? Or
no, you'll pick up the whole thing and roll them all again.
Okay.
And generally, you'll look at the situation. If you've rolled a -3 or -4, that's the best time to go for the re-roll. Sometimes with -2. Otherwise, usually the +2 to the roll. And the way you're going to do that is you're going to spend a fate point, and then you're going to invoke one of your aspects. You're going to look at the aspects that you have in your character sheet, like your high concept, and you're going to say, well, I'm an elven ranger, so I think that I would be able to read these tracks well. I have that in my background, so I'm going to spend a fate point. I'm going to invoke my elven rangerness, and that's going to give me a +2 on this roll. So your high concept, imagine that in a lot of games you'd have a lot of different skills and feats and things. It represents that bundle of your background, that bundle of your training, who you are in that. So, for example, your thief, we're going to modify that a little. It's going to be an interesting thing about those kinds of situations where you get those benefits. Wizard obviously has knowledge of sorcery and other things, so that's a good place to invoke those aspects. Now, we're also going to come up with some other aspects that are going to help describe your character. But the other one that I've mentioned there is the trouble aspect. And with the trouble aspect is the thing that holds you back. And usually in other games you might have disadvantages or flaws or things that you get points for. And maybe there's a role associated with them, that kind of thing. In Fate, you have a lot of control about when you want those troubles to hit you. And the troubles work in what they call compels. So, for example, you can self-compel yourself to when you get into a situation where you think your trouble is actually going to hold you back, when you think your trouble is going to arise. For example, let's say that Matthias is going through working his way through the underworld, and he might want to compel his Thief Guild Hates Me against himself. Or the GM, I might say, oh, well, you're down here and you see a rival Thief Guild person. That's me compelling that against you, causing a complication. When trouble aspects occur, they can either cause a complication or they might change your behavior. For example, Kyle, fear of impending doom. Mm-hmm. There might be a thing where something weird or mysterious happens, and I might compel, well, maybe you don't want to go there, You're fearful about the magics involved with that, how that might interact with your curse, something like that. And why you would want to do that is when you compel yourself or when I compel you to kind of cause a problem for you, then you get a fate point back. So that's the economy that's going on, is you're invoking your aspects to get yourself benefits, and then in order to recharge those throughout the course of a session, the GM is invoking these negatives against you, or you can do that for yourself. You do have an option if the GM, for example, let's say that I invoke the compel against you, Matthias, where there's a rival thieves guild coming in, it's going to cause a problem for you, and you don't want that. Let's say the situation is such that it's dire, that you need to get through it. If I offer you a fate point, you can cancel it by spending one of your fate points. So there's a little bit of a push and pull there that's allowed. So you want aspects, for trouble aspects that are kind of interesting, that give you some flavor, that talk about stories that your character is interested in. For example, if you're not interested in social stuff with your character, then you don't want a trouble aspect that's going to get you, into social problems. If that's not interesting to you, you want your trouble aspect to do things that you want to play out. If you like, hunted, or you like, bad reputations, things like that. Those are all the kinds of stories that you can play out. If you look at any disadvantage list from any game, you can see how you might build those into trouble aspects. So, Matthias, we've got a thief here. We've kind of taken your unlucky, we've moved it down to your trouble aspect. We've got that thing about your rivalry. Let's think about what else we can say about the thief for your high concept that might give us some color and might say some interesting things about him or her.
Could it be if I say something like snobby, I don't know, high, I'm not sure how to say that in English, the high-nosed, it's kind of, it sounds like a trouble, it still sounds like a trouble.
Maybe,
is it something that should be positive, a bit more positive?
You want to give yourself something like former noble or former or fallen noble thief. Maybe he has a background aristocrat, or maybe, that would be an interesting thing, or discriminating, that he has good taste. Thief with good taste is another one.
I think that sounds quite good. That's like a balance. It could be really bad also.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll go with that. So.
And then that's perfect, because sometimes you want to have an aspect that has some good positive stuff, but has double edges. Could be used in other situations. Could be turned around. Has a couple of meanings to it. Kyle, we've got your human mage. How do you want to color that character?
So the trouble, just kind of like the way his unlucky worked, the trouble is sort of actually filling the trouble spot, and we're gonna try to get another concept going, is what I'm getting here.
Yeah, we're gonna modify. We're just gonna take that human mage part and maybe how we're gonna tweak that.
Okay, so let's see. Let's say that he is like sort of, I'm not sure how far you can go with this. Maybe he has some sort of connection with the elements or something like that.
Okay, so elementally attuned?
Sure.
Elementally attuned human mage. That's perfect. Works great. It gives you some other interesting situations. It tells you something about your character. It doesn't work in all situations, but it gives you some place where you can play with that.
Yeah, I think with what we were talking about before with the family curse, I right after we were done with that, I had said maybe it was a disease, but I think maybe what the curse is that once somebody in his family reaches a certain age, they've all died at the same age, and and maybe the ways that they died also had something to do with the elements, like either they were burned or they drowned or suffocated or something like that. So okay, yeah.
Excellent. I like that. I like that very much. It gives some other details to your character. So now in Standard Fate, when we play through, everybody would come up with 3 more aspects. We're just going to do 2 of those to keep it kind of simple for today. And the way that works is something that in Fate is called the phase trio. And we're going to kind of shorthand that a little bit today, but we're going to kind of play through it because I think it's a really important thing. One of the things I found, if you ask people real cold, okay, come up with an aspect, players have a hard time with that. So what the phase trio does is it asks you to kind of tell a story about your character, and then you're going to draw an aspect out from that, and then we're actually going to have the other players add on to it. So here's what I'm going to ask you to think about, and then I'll come around and I'll kind of keep some notes here, and we're going to listen to each other because we're going to kind of play off of them. You're going to come up with an adventure, just a real brief story about something that happened to your character, something that's bad, some kind of problem, some kind of situation that you had in the past, you know, and talk about a little bit about what happened there, some sort of first previous adventure that your character was involved in. And what's going to happen on that is once you've kind of done that, we're going to look and see what aspect we can pull out from that story, and then we're actually going to hand it off to another player, and they're going to add in how they were involved with it. So that's what's going to happen here. So take a moment and think about a story for your character.
And you want this to, I mean, this can just be absolutely anything, or should it be some sort of, when you say adventure, I'm thinking like you mean some sort of quest or something, or can it just be something that happened to them in general?
It can be an event that happened to them. It can be a quest that they went on. It can be some sort of life-changing thing, or just, you know, a barroom brawl. Any kind of scale for that you want.
Okay, that works. Okay.
And give a shout out when you've got something, and we'll kind of quickly type out a summary of it when you've got the sense of it.
I think I've got something.
Okay, what are you thinking, William?
Thinking after he was kicked out of his homeland, he had to find some resources, so he started giving guides, or following as like a guides or woodsman for groups of people, nobles that want to go from town to town.
Okay.
And unfortunately, on the first time that he did that, he still not as familiar with the land. He actually went a pathway that wasn't best for his party that he was leading, and they ran into problems with running out of rations, running into some trouble that he had to try to negotiate out of, and it was just generally not a pleasant experience.
Okay. So we've got that you traveled on the road. We're a guide. Got the party in trouble, and had to kind of get yourself out of that. What are you thinking about? What does that say about your character? What can you draw good about your character from that experience?
I'm thinking and focusing on the tracking that he ultimately had to do, because he learned the hard way how to judge a party that's traveling with him, and also the path that he's about to go on.
Okay. I like that, learn the hard way. That's a good one.
Okay.
So maybe something like never caught unawares again, or now always prepared, something like that, or preparation is. I mean, what do you think there? What do you want to?
I like the caught unawares. Never caught
Okay.
unawares again.
So
Yeah.
never caught unawares again. Okay. All right. So I'm going to write that down. Got that down as your sort of next aspect after your trouble aspect. I'm gonna never caught unawares. And you can always rephrase that. And one of the things I would encourage people, if you guys are playing or running Fate, is to say these are all placeholders. You'll have a chance to kind of tweak these as you go along if you're, to refine them or shift them. They're not absolutely set in stone. Kyle, Matthias?
I can go.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Okay,
Kyle?
so I think that maybe this mage, he was tracking this like kind of evil creature maybe for a few years, like some sort of shadowy beast or something that was a killer. Like he would track it from town to town, and where it would leave a trail of murders behind. And eventually he did catch up with it, but at the time that he did it, had a victim, one of its victims that was still alive, and he had to choose between saving the girl or letting the beast get away, kind of thing, and chose to save this person that he didn't know instead of finally, capturing this beast that he had been hunting for all this time.
All right. That's great. I like that a lot. What do you say? Kind of, was there a lesson you want to take about it, or something that says about your character that you want to draw out from that?
Yeah, I think he maybe realized that his obsessions aren't always shouldn't always come first. So he's always willing to let maybe his own things, his own personal needs, take a second seat to other people who are in need.
Okay, so like something like let's see here.
Charitable or something like that.
Yeah. We wanted to do so. Charity is its own reward, or humanity over obligations. Or always look out for others.
Let's go with that one. I think I like that one, yeah.
Okay. Out for others. Okay, let me type that in and look out for others. And I'm gonna. All right, Matthias, what are you thinking?
Right. So, as a discriminating thief, I come from a quite a good family, but then in my teen years, I decided to go to another path, to do another path, so to say, and joined the guild and have been working for the Guild of Thieves, and I was involved in this job where we have a good contact called. I mean, the Williams character could be like a contact,
Okay.
where he delivered us.
We'll pass it off to William, so we'll let him work his role in there. But
okay.
Yeah.
So we're like stealing from like nobles and living like a yeah. That was something I was thinking about. Maybe connect that some way to William. But if it's from that he should do, then I will probably
Well,
leave.
what happened on this job that made it significant for you?
Well, I think one of the members got killed. One of the other guild members got killed, and yeah, some think that I was some way connected to that, but I've been trying to regain my reputation in the guild since then, and yeah, how to make that positive, I have no idea.
Well, so we can look at you've got thief with good taste. Well, and we can say, I mean, there are a couple of ways that we can draw out that. We can say something like old contacts with the Thieves Guild, or we could say hunting, hunting to redeem myself. There's a couple of ones there. Or guild training. Or never let my partners down.
Well, I think this the contacts with the Thief Guild. I mean, some of the members I still have contact with after being almost kicked out from that. So that might be the easiest one for me for now to wrap my head around that.
Okay. So old contacts, old friends in the Thieves Guild.
Yeah.
Okay. Old friends. Okay. So what the phase trio works now is I'm gonna shift, and each of you is going to look at the adventure that's just been told by the other person, and you're going to talk about how you ended up involved in that. And you can think about whether your character complicated the previous person's story, or you solved a situation, or you complicated and solved it, how you were tied in or involved with that situation, and we're going to draw an aspect out from that. So, William, you're going to take Matthias's, and we're going to figure out how you were involved with that.
I had a good one for that, too.
Matthias, you're going to take Kyle's situation there with his struggle with the shadow beast and his choice there that he made. And Kyle, you're going to take William's situation, his story about having been on the road and having had the problems and working desperately to guide these nobles through.
Can I ask what type of trouble was it that you got into when you were guiding the nobles?
I hadn't really. I'm thinking first got lost, lack of provisions.
Okay, that's right. Okay, yep, okay.
Then stumbled into something I shouldn't have stumbled into.
Okay.
Just kind of got a few instances there.
Okay.
And Kyle, can you specify a bit more your backstory, because I'm not sure if I quite understand it right.
Yes, so he had been hunting this murderous kind of creature that was stalking around maybe from city to city, like almost like not a vampire, but of that same sort of methodology, like the same sort of modus operandi, the way that he would move, or this thing would move around and kill people. And after years of hunting it, he finally had caught it, but there was an innocent victim there, and he had to choose between saving this victim or finally like killing this creature that he'd been going after.
Okay.
Was that the part you meant?
Yeah.
Okay.
And you got the always look out for the others from that.
Right, because he let the creature get away. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So, William, since I started with you, I'm going to come back to you again on this. Have some ideas?
Hmm. I'm wondering if I might have been hired out to help him. Let's see,
Ooh, that's.
I guess what were you trying to? Yeah, trying to lead them to where they needed to go.
That they hired you as part of the job.
Yeah, I could see me I could see me taking anything I could to get work, needing money, and yeah.
And so, what happened there to your involvement there with Matthias's character?
I don't know if this would be too underhandedly. Uh, I was the one that got the guy killed. Matthias took the blame for it. I don't know if that's too bad.
Wow.
Well, here's the question: is so we look at that and we think, well, what does that say about your character? What kind of aspect did that?
Yeah.
A horrible person.
Well, okay.
Looking out for number one could be.
I'm thinking if this goes well, this was a guild member that actually had quite a substantial warrant out, and so I decided to cash in on it during the job, and then always get my man.
Okay.
Regardless, I don't know.
And I probably don't know. I probably don't know about that, or otherwise we might have problems working together.
That seems fair enough.
Yeah, I'm thinking I probably would have tried to do it silently, and just when they started blaming you, I didn't speak up.
And so for you, is the most important part of that you were willing to, since you saw this rich potential for wealth, is it more that you were willing to grab for the gold then, or is it more that you've kept your mouth shut about it afterwards?
I guess willing to grab the gold.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how do we want to put that?
Always out for the shiny.
Well, that's not a bad one, actually, because that's a nice double-edged one.
Yeah.
Always out for the shiny. That's a little Firefly-esque there.
Yeah.
Okay.
So basically,
I like
I'm able to spot the things of value, but also I may not be able to resist going for them. Okay.
Yeah, that's cool. I like that. All right. So, Kyle, what are you thinking?
Well, I'm not sure if this is going to work or not, but what I was thinking was that, okay, so in the context of him, this ranger leading this this group wherever through the wilderness, assumedly, that my guy was there. Oh, I hate to say my guy, but that this wizard was there, and he used some sort of magic to actually lead the ranger off of his path, like, and actually was responsible for them getting lost. But he did it because they would have went straight into this area where he had been recently tracking this beast that he was after. So he was actually doing it to protect them.
Oh. So something like Secret Protector, or
that works.
Okay.
Yeah. Sure.
All right. Secret Protector. That's good. It has some interesting stuff that you kind of keep in the shadows, helping people out. I like that.
You know, I lost a lot of money on that job because you did that.
I like that we've all built aspects that are all about how you guys have met each other, knew each other, and yet you actually kind of hosed each other in the process.
Right. Some for good reasons, some for not.
Matthias, what are you thinking?
Yeah, well, this turned out to be quite difficult to do anything else, but that Kyle actually saved me. I was, yeah, I was the person who was almost killed, but I never thanked him because, yeah, I didn't feel like getting saved. I think that I'm a yeah, maybe I'm rude, maybe I'm something like that, but other than that, I'm struggling a bit trying to.
So maybe, so he feels like he's got an obligation to make that right.
Yeah. Some
like,
kind of barrier to.
Like always settle my debts or need to even the score, maybe something like that. Or is there another way you want to tweak that?
Yeah, that sounds a bit more positive. Maybe that sounds like a bit what I had going on with the guild members also trying to. Yeah.
So something like here's how I wrote it down. I always pay my debts. It's a nice one. It's one that can be used in social situations to connect up, maybe drive you forward if one of the other characters is in trouble, that kind of thing. So I'm going to quickly run through what we've got down as aspects here for everybody. And while I'm doing that, I want everybody to think of a name for their character, which at my table is often the hardest part for my players. So William, Mysterious Elven Ranger, that's high concept. Trouble is a stranger in a foreign land, so elf out of water. And got another aspect, never caught unawares again. On the other hand, always out for the shiny. So always looking for that, able to spot it. Kyle, we have elementally attuned human mage. And we've got fear of impending doom. We might modify that to fear of family curse, something like that, but I like what that does. Got always look out for others as another aspect for you, and secret protector as another one. And then Matthias, we've got thief with good taste. Trouble aspect is such a hated by the Thieves Guild. And then we've got your two other aspects. We've got old friends within the Thieves Guild, and I always pay my debts. All right. Now, if we were doing a full fate sort of phase core, you would actually pass it one more time. And there's a nice worksheet for this in the Fate Core book. And everybody would then end up with 5 aspects. But we're going to stick with these 4 just for the purposes of this. So once you've got those aspects down, you're going to pick out your skills and assign those. So this is going to get, I'm going to actually send you a link here in the chat. And I recommend opening up that in another tab, the Fate SRD. If you go there, you can see the list of skills when you click on the Fate Core section. And you should be able to get to the list of skills there on the sidebar. So the skills are athletics, burglary, contacts, crafts, deceive, drive, empathy, fight, investigate, lore, notice, physique, provoke, rapport, resources, shoot, stealth, and will. So there are about 20 skills there. Again, different games will have a different skill list. You can tweak those pretty easily. So that's easy to do. A couple of those are interesting. Rapport is the sort of the diplomacy skill, the getting along with people skill. Provoke is a kind of offensive, aggressive skill when you're trying to draw somebody out, trying to get them angry. It's the aggressive social skill. Most of those other ones should be pretty self-explanatory. Empathy is essentially kind of cozying up to people as well. So.
Okay, sorry, I just now got back. As soon as I tried to open that, of course, everything went.
Oh, okay.
Went black. So I'm just now getting to Fate Core or Fate role playing game SRD. Sorry, do I need to click on Fate Core?
Yeah, actually, let me do this. I'll give you the
right, skills and stunts. I'm there now.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Now, what we're going to do to make the very simplest version of this is there's an additional skill that you will have, Kyle, that we're just going to call magic. So that'll be the additional skill that you have. Let me then, this is, William, what is your character's name?
My name is... What was I had it? Okay. Illadren.
Okay.
I've been there in tech.
All right. So that you did it, right? Edit. Okay. And then Kyle, what is your character's name?
Go with let's see, Lucian.
Okay. This. And then Matthias, what is your character's name?
Oh god, I just had it. I just lost it. Okay, I'll take something that's too European. Edwin.
Okay.
Yeah, that's not too fancy, but
Fair
shit,
enough.
I just lost it. Oh crap. I need to open some generators.
Okay. So if you guys go, you should see there is the third tab over on Roll20 is Journal. And if you click on that, you should then see I've put your characters' names, and you should be able to open up a character sheet for yourself. So you can type in your aspects there for your characters under high concept trouble, and then you can add the other two. poke around on your sheets here while you're doing that. Okay. Okay. So the next thing that you're going to think about, and this is what we would do, we've got aspects, we've got name, is you're going to assign your skills. If you look down below the aspects, you'll see they've got that set of skills, and some of those are grayed out. Basically, you're going to end up with a total of 10 skills. You're going to have 4 of those skills at a +1, 3 of those skills at a +2, 2 of those skills at a +3, and 1 skill at a +4. So you can go ahead and look at the skill list and type those into what you want the scores assigned to. And if you have questions about the skills, I can kind of go through there and talk about what they do, how I use them in play.
What would be the equivalent from this list for like a tracking or?
For like a tracking, I believe that investigate is probably your best bet for that one. Investigate has like attention to detail and things. Other option is we can define it. Notice also works for reading things.
Can you explain rapport one more time?
Okay, so rapport, it's about making positive connections to people and getting positive reactions back from people.
Okay.
Okay. Making yourself popular. And the parallel of that, empathy is essentially the notice skill for reading other people.
Is investigate and notice kind of the difference, like in D&D's spot and search kind of thing? Investigate's more deliberate searching, and notice is just...
Yeah, notice is very much the looking around, the spot, an immediate kind of checking or looking around. Investigate is actually tracking things down, searching an area, or even going and talking to people and getting information from them, that kind of thing.
Okay.
How many are we choosing? 5?
So if you look here on the character sheet, you can see that you're going to get 4 at +1.
Oh, I'm sorry. I got you. Yep.
Yeah. So all the non-grayed out boxes should be filled when you're done.
Okay.
And it's tough because it's 10 skills and you actually want all of them. So.
Right. I'm assuming shoot is going to be like using a bow.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Does physique have anything to do with like how hard you are to kill, or is it more just a strength type thing?
Physique actually does add to the amount of damage that you can take.
Okay.
On physical attacks. So physique is about strength, but it does add to that.
Drive. I was thinking it was like more like a mental drive or something, and not driving.
Yeah.
That might not be as useful in a fantasy
Right.
setting. I guess it's more like a ride a horse type thing now.
In this context, it would be riding, driving carts, all of that kind of thing,
Sure.
boating. It is one of the things when I do Fate or Fate, the homebrews that we do with Fate is going through and tweaking the skill list to make it fit with the particular genre, and you'll see that in all of the different various Fate worlds and so on. And of course, this is where Fate Accelerated works very differently. They have a very narrow set of handful of sort of forms and approaches.
Okay, so I'm having no idea how magic works in this game. Is shoot going to have any effect on that for me, or no?
Generally, what we'll use for your magic skill is we'll use the magic. If you're using it as an attack, you'll roll using the magic skill rather than a shoot skill.
So it's not something like a ranged attack, a ranged magic attack, or anything where I need to be able to aim. Okay. Let's go with...
And crafts could be used for me, maybe making some kind of traps or repairing my bow, making arrows, that kind of thing?
Absolutely.
Okay. And I think I am done.
Okay. So now I'm going to go, and this is Edwin. I'm going to do this. Okay.
Sorry about that, Mike.
No, that's okay.
Got to beep that my battery's done.
Oh. And then Lucian and Eladrin. Okay. So Eladrin, you took physique at good, right?
Yeah.
+3. Okay.
Appeared to be a hardy person.
That's right.
Wilderness guy.
Okay. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. And 1, 2, 3. So most of the skills are just giving you skill bonuses. There are 2 skills, will and physique. They give you additional stress boxes, which is essentially effectively additional hit points. Physique, if you have a +1 or a +2 in it, it gives you a 3-point physical box of stress. If you have a 3 or a 4 in it, you get a 3 and a 4 box of physical stress. Same thing goes for will, but for mental stress. So that's one thing to kind of keep in mind. And I'll talk about how damage works when we get to that. So now, if you look and kind of click on any particular skill there, you will see that they've got listed there 3 example stunts. So let's take a look at athletics here real quick. If you look there, you see that the athletic skill, it talks about the kind of 3 modes that it works in. But if we look down under stunts, it has 3 special abilities. At the start of the game during character creation, everybody gets to take a total of 3 stunts. And you get 3 what they call refresh, which is how many fate points you have at the start of each game. So if we look at athletics, they have one of the stunts is sprinter, as you can see there, and that allows you to move faster. Hardcore parkour means that in certain kinds of situations, if you're in chases, you can get a bonus to that particular action. And then dazzling counter, is a benefit when you're defending. So what you can do then is, if you want to kind of poke through here as we're going along, and if you see a stunt that appeals to you as we're playing, as you know, in the downtime, you can say, "Oh, I've got that stunt." You can call it out as we go along in play.
And we can take 3 total stunts from all of the skills that we've chosen, like out of all that whole pool, or no?
So you can take 3 total stunts, and you can take them from anyone. You don't even have to have any points in the skill. You just can take that as a stunt. It's a special thing you can do.
Oh, okay, cool.
And now I'm going to just have you guys have 3 fate points, and you'll have these 3 stunts. You can figure out if you see one that you love. I mean, there's some great ones. Shoot has some excellent ones for called shots and things. Then you can have 3 fate points. If we were doing standard character creation, you would also have the option of taking more stunts, but you would reduce the number of refresh that you have. So you would essentially sell off your starting fate points for extra stunts, which is a hard bargain that the GM can play out there.
And refresh lets you use a stunt twice. Is that what you were saying?
Nope. Refresh is how many fate points you start each session with.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
Yeah.
Fate.
Tokens, select. Okay. So now I'm going to do this text. Type this in here.
So with you giving me this magic stunt, is that like, if you were doing that, would you then actually? I mean, magic. Sorry.
Skill.
Skill, yeah.
So there are a number of different ways that Fate can model magic. They've got in the Fate toolkit, they've got a number of systems. In the back of the Fate core book, they've got a number of different ways. There are a lot of different ways that you can do that. This is one of the simplest ones. Essentially, let me see how I'm going to put this. Essentially, with any particular skill can do one of 4 things at a time. Essentially, it has 4 modes, and if you see there above on, well, if we look at the athletics, you can see that there are 4 things. There's overcome, create an advantage, attack, and defend. Overcome means it's when you use the skill to do something, when you're overcoming an obstacle, when you're trying to, investigate a clue, or you're trying to climb a wall, or you're trying to use magic to burn a hole through a wall to get somewhere. Any of those things, that's an overcome action. You're using the skill for that.
Okay, I see it now. Okay.
Gotcha. Create an advantage is where you're trying to set something up, where you're trying to change the environment. For example, let's say that you wanted to cast a darkness spell to make it shadowy in a room. That would be creating an advantage. You would actually be creating an aspect on the room that you would be layering in. In combat, you can create an advantage. Like, let's say you want to disarm someone, or you want to unbalance them. You want to create an ice slick. You want to draw their attention while somebody else goes in. That's creating an advantage. That's creating an aspect that you can then use and invoke for free after that.
Okay.
And then most skills don't have this, but there is a mode, attack. That's fight and shoot uses that. Attacking means actually doing damage, doing an aggressive attack to actually cause harm. And then Defend is the mode that if you're essentially using a skill to resist something. And it resist an attack, or resist somebody creating an advantage on you, resist somebody, you know, changing up who or what you are. Now, I'm talking about the modes here, but a lot of what's going to happen when we play is you guys say what you want to do, and then we'll kind of translate it into the mechanics of the game. And if at any point when I'm doing that, you want to know what's going on, you want to have me explain how I'm doing that, just stop me and I'll go through and explain that. And let me do this last thing here. So, actually, is that right? All right. So I've put little labels on the boxes where your fate points are, so you can grab from the fate point pool there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up a situation. I'm going to set the scene for you, and I'm going to have you figure out how you want to deal with the problem. And in the course of that, we're going to try out some of the fate systems as we go through and play. Again, anytime you want me to stop and explain what we're doing, just say so. And again, standard, when I say make a roll, you're going to be rolling that roll 4DF. Any questions before we get started?
Do we have time to get a beverage?
Please do.
Thank you.
Oh yeah, good time for a bio break real quick.
Yes. All right. So here's the situation. You three known each other, cross paths. All of you now looking for some kind of gainful employment, and you've been hired together to do a kind of job that they want some discretion on. Situation is this. There is a prince, Prince Ruprecht. Prince Ruprecht has been kidnapped. And he has been kidnapped by a countess, Countess Alarica. And I'll put those names in the chat thing here so we get all of that. So Prince Ruprecht has been kidnapped by this Countess Alarica. She is not really a countess, that's the title she's given herself. She is a famed swordswoman, and apparently she plans on marrying off Prince Ruprecht to her daughter, essentially to establish some family ties for herself into the nobility. She currently holds a place called Castle Stonewatch, and the city, more like a town, that is nearby is known as Gravelton.
I'm sorry, I'm not seeing it come up in the chat.
Oh, it ought to be actually in the Roll20 chat. You click on the word balloon on the Roll20.
Oh, okay.
That's okay. That's okay.
I still have my character sheet open.
Okay. So the thing is this, is Prince Ruprecht is not a great guy, but he's important in the succession. And you've been hired because they want Prince Ruprecht brought back before other people find out that he's missing. Because if people find that out, then all hell is going to break loose. So they want him back quietly. They want him back alive. They want this taken care of, and you're being paid a great deal of money to do this. Perhaps overcoming your own sense of how difficult the job is actually going to be. And so we take up with you guys arriving at Gravelton, essentially coming in. You've been provided with standard equipment, standard a little bit of money, horses. There was some debate about taking off with them, you know, because that's quite a bit of change. But the possible payday that you'll have if you can retrieve Ruprecht is significant. So you want to carry on that way. So we take on with you guys, have arrived at the classic fantasy town. It's got a small wall outside the town. The castle is raised up a little bit. There's a standard kind of rampart leading up to it. It doesn't have much in the way of moat, but it is an old castle. So, you know, there's graveyards nearby and some forested land outside. And you guys have to figure out how you want to deal with this. Now in Fate, like a lot of these games like Dungeon World and stuff, we can kind of zoom to level, you know, to how you want to approach things, questions or setting things up, that kind of stuff. So let me ask you guys, how do you want to start?
Who paid us to do the job? Actually, was it?
You were paid by Prince Ruprecht's uncle, Uncle Clive. You have the sense that Uncle Clive doesn't like Prince Ruprecht very much, but he likes civil war even less.
Do we know how he was actually taken? How, like, he was kidnapped, you said, or?
Yes, you know he was kidnapped. Why don't you make a lore roll for me to maybe
Okay.
would have looked into it beforehand.
I think my lore is +1 or +2. I'm not sure.
Okay. Your lore is +2.
Whoops. What did I do wrong?
Oh, you're in the other chat window.
Oh, duh. I'm gonna
I know,
see. I
it
wish I
always
could
takes
make
me
the
a bit
Roll20 screen take up the whole, bigger, the whole Roll20 screen, so it would just block.
Yeah, you can click, can close the group chat and just go over there, and we can chat in that window.
Oh. Just close the group chat.
And
Yeah.
there should be an X above the group chat.
Yep, I got it now.
All right.
I wasn't thinking. Okay, so.
Okay. So that's a 2. So that's a success. We'll give you some information. If you would roll better, maybe I would have given you additional information. I tend to take the gumshoe approach, where I always give you a little bit, and then based on your roll, I'll give you some other further things. So Ruprecht apparently is a gambler, perhaps an inveterate gambler, and he apparently was lured by the promise of a high-stakes game to a trade town nearby, and was kidnapped there from essentially the great floating poker game that was going on.
Cool.
Not outside his usual behavior patterns.
And did we know? We know he's being held in the castle.
Yes.
Just...
So Clive has enough pull and agents to be assured that he knows who took Ruprecht, and he knows that he's being held in the castle, and he knows that Alarica intends to marry Ruprecht to her daughter.
Well,
what's your next step, guys?
I think
Going through the street.
Yeah.
Well, I was thinking about maybe contacting a few of my colleagues in Gravelton to ask about the castle a bit. What kind of maybe hidden entrances the castle has, and because all the guild members must have this kind of information, because there must be quite a lot of interesting items in the castle.
Yes. Why don't you make a contacts roll for me?
For EF. So I got a 2. +2.
Okay. Yeah. Do you want to stick with that now? One of the things you could certainly do is you could spend a fate point, and invoke your excellent aspect to raise up the level of that.
Yeah, I'll do that. So I'll use 1 fate point. How do I do that?
I'll just grab it off of there, pull it over here, drag it out.
Using the old friends in the Thieves Guild aspect.
So you get a 4, and a 4 is success. Whenever you get essentially a difference of 3 or more on versus the difficulty, it's called success with style, and generally will give you more information or more things. So right now you'll go and you'll spend a little bit of time finding out who is here in the Thieves Guild, doing the proper signs in the thieves' cant, talking to them for a few hours. Of course, they don't want to necessarily give it up right away, because the castle's an important thing, and they don't necessarily want to give away all their stuff. But eventually you will convince them, and they will tell you two things. One is they will give you maps of the castle, and that actually is essentially creating an advantage. And I'm going to put that up here as that's an aspect now that you guys have. You have an advantage. You have maps of the castle. Later on, when you're doing something, you can invoke that once for free to give yourself a reroll or +2 on a thing when you're going in. But the other thing that you will get is that there are 2 ways into the castle. This is just a piece of information. That there is apparently some sort of celebration going on at the castle that things are being prepared for. And so there's a lot of people going back and forth. The other way is that there is a windy path that some thieves have taken to get into the castle via the old tombs and mausoleums that lead into, essentially, through the old dungeon part of the castle and into the courtyard there. So that's the information that you will get. William, let's turn to your character, and what are you thinking?
I'm thinking the party aspect probably is not a good idea for me. So probably sneaking into the tombs and the mausoleums would be more of my preference.
What do you think about in terms of looking around or preparation or investigation while your friend Edwin is out canvassing the neighborhood, so to speak?
I don't know.
I'm sorry. Did you say there's the tombs or whatever, or is the alternate way in?
Yeah, it seems like they've mentioned that his friends with the team skills mentioned that if they were going in tonight, they would either work their way in with one of the essentially the people who are servicing the castle this evening, or they would go in through the tombs.
Right. Okay. Sorry about that.
Sure. No. I guess this. What do you want to know?
I guess we'd like to know who's going to be at this party tonight, maybe.
Okay.
Is there a way to find out maybe like what kind of local vendors or merchants might be supplying the food and drinks for this thing that's going on?
Certainly. That would be a contacts role. Would be essentially the networking thing there that you would be making the roll on to find that out.
Yep. I've got none of those. I'm
Zero.
not from this town.
Right. But a 1, so that's a tie. So what the way that fate works is when you get a tie, you're going to get a success, but maybe with a minor cost. So what will happen is, Lucian, you kind of go and ask around and kind of getting a sense. You're trying to be casual about this, but this is maybe not your major area of expertise. How magey do you look? How much do you look like a wizard?
Actually, probably not a lot. He's certainly not wearing a pointy hat or anything like that. He's probably wearing just like casual, loose-fitting clothes, a shirt and pants of the same color. He's well groomed.
Okay.
He probably does have a beard, but he doesn't twirl it or anything like that, at least not in public.
All right. So you will get information on 2 groups that will be going up into the castle. One is that there is a set of bards that are going up to perform this evening. Apparently, it sort of has been an open order for bards and that have gathered together. You have the sense that the Countess is not particularly discriminating about that, and so she's essentially just set up a battle of the bards. Open play. The other thing is that you will find out who is essentially hauling the wine casks up for tonight's celebration. However, as you're kind of asking around, you do have the sense that maybe you've been noticed. That there's definitely an atmosphere here in and amongst the town, like the guards maybe look more like hirelings, like agents of the Countess, than they do like people intended to look out for the welfare of the town. And there is that kind of feeling that maybe somebody has seen you and has registered you as a suspicious person.
Oh.
Okay.
Whoops. Somebody has spotted me or something. I lost you right after has, but I'm pretty sure that's what you're going to say.
Oh yeah. You're regarded as suspicious right now. So that's right. Sort of the minor cost on that. William, how do you want to work with this? What is Eladram's approach?
I think actually I would probably want to figure out the security detail, so we kind of know what we're going into.
Okay. Which part of the security detail? Do you want an idea of what kind of guard she has, or do you want to try and buddy to get details on the people, or do you want to sneak up and see if you can observe?
I think I'm more of the observation. I want to see how many people they bring in. Are they bringing in, extra weapons? Where are they where they're casing the place? What are they watching for?
Okay.
That kind of thing.
So essentially moving around, checking out the castle from the outside, doing that check for that. Okay. Mm-hmm. Do you want to roll that as a notice or sort of a more investigation? What would you prefer? We can kind of do it either way.
I prefer investigation because that's a higher roll. But
okay, let's have you roll that.
I know there's implications. Oh. Really? Yeah, I could have spent a fate point.
Okay, what do you want to tag for that?
I've never caught unawares. Again,
okay, awesome.
I'm going to keep looking. Better.
Okay.
And that's with a +3, so 4 total.
So you'll get success because they do have some defenses and things like that, so it's a little harder to overcome and spot through it. No formal military, like there are no archers on the walls. Mm-hmm. It does look like she must have pretty much, her personal bodyguard of real sort of basic mercenaries. Mm-hmm. They don't look particularly disciplined in the sense that you see a lot of people talking on the walls and wineskins out and that kind of thing. In the sense the celebration is definitely lubricating their behavior today. So you'll see that, and I think I'll actually give you with that as an aspect here. Gap in the guards. Whoop, if I can type this right. So there's another aspect, an advantage that you've created for yourself. That you've seen that there are a couple of places where the guards are not particularly heavy or they're not watching particularly strongly. So I would assume that you guys will gather back together after some looking around. Let's say it's midday by this point. You guys have stabled your horses, and you've at least found yourself a relatively quiet inn where you guys can you talk in your rooms or hide in the shadows of one of the corners to discuss your nefarious plans.
Wait, our plans aren't nefarious.
Well, point of view.
Right, so is the celebration going to happen tonight, or well, I mean, could we use that as an like a how do you say, as an way to get in through the tombs or something like that. That does it happen at the same time? Does it happen tonight or? Yeah.
It does seem like they are getting ready for that. That tonight there's clearly going to be some kind of party. You don't know if it's a wedding ceremony or you don't know if it's a lead up to that. But there are definitely entertainers and such arriving, so there's definitely something going on up there tonight.
I think that Lucian is going to suggest that we all pose as a trio of roving minstrels to get into this thing. Since it sounds like, from what we've heard, that it's pretty much a open mic night at this party.
All right.
That's
just his thoughts, though.
But we might need
still birds performing, you know.
We might still need an invitation of some kind. I'm not sure if we can just walk in. Maybe if we pretend to take part of the Battle of the Bards or something like that. Get some instruments and look like that. Then we might get in without an invitation, but.
So the question would be, for that particular plan, is how you would obtain those instruments.
We should be able to, this is a big city, right? I'm sure there's someone that sells them. We could take a look around, try to buy something at the Guitar Center.
Loots are us. All right. And what does Eladron think of that particular plan?
I'm a little nervous about going in. If you're the wizard, if you think you can pull this off, then I'll go with it. But
it definitely sounds safer than what we're gonna. Well, what we could possibly run into anytime somebody says the word tombs, the hair on my shoulders stands up a little bit.
We can also do like this. Lucian, you go to the party, and we two go through the tombs. That might work also.
Yeah, splitting up is always good.
Yeah.
Yeah. If he's out, yeah. I don't think that's a good idea.
What do you want to check on how hard it will be to obtain reasonable instruments?
My only concern is even getting the instruments. That's not going to necessarily get us in because we're going to have to play them at some point, and I think that's where our ruse is going to suffer.
I think
you just have to act like you're playing them. I'll take care of the rest.
Oh, okay. Well,
it's more about the stage show anyway, so it's.
Okay. Well, yeah. Let's see how easily we can get something.
Assuming I can affect like a little bit of on the spot. Lucian will just affect a little bit of background music that comes out of nowhere. A few bars.
That sounds like a great idea. We're reliant on that. So let me ask you this. Who wants to make the resources roll for tracking down and obtaining instruments for you guys?
That would probably be me. I think I might. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll try to do that.
What's your resources skill?
It's +1.
Okay.
Oh.
So instruments are usually handcrafted. They're rarer things. I mean, these are not, just easy necessarily to get, so it is a little tough to get 3 crafted instruments, so you do probably have to head to essentially a pawnbroker's and find something there. Let's have you make that resources roll.
Okay.
Ooh!
All right.
3.
3. So that's a little bit difficult. So let's say it's just about above. So I will say that you will get essentially a loot and a decent set of hand drums, and the last person gets a cowbell.
More cowbell.
So 2 good-looking instruments and a cowbell is what you've got.
I'll take the cowbell.
Okay.
What would be the skill to be able to play the lute?
The play the lute would be a crafts skill that would be for performance. Crafts covers both arts and creation.
Okay, I give the lute to William, Eldrin, your lead.
Great. All right. All right.
So it's a lute, a drum, and a cowbell. Is that
Yes.
correct? Okay.
All right. So you guys are considering going in. So how do you want to do this? You'll look and you see some of the other bards who are going up. They're dressed very bardy. You know, they've got flashy clothes and they've got the bells on their sleeves. You know, they if they're armed, they maybe have a dagger for cutting the reads of their oboes and whatnot.
Yeah. How am I going to get my weapons? The weapons in? Can we? Are they searching like gear? If we bring like a bag of extra stuff, at least imagine they're searching it.
You could certainly attempt to conceal your weapons away. That would be a deceive roll for somebody to hide that and get them put away such that they wouldn't be searched.
Okay, could I ask a question?
Sure.
Out of like a rules type question, or just maybe a game flow question.
Sure.
So, like, as we're trying to attempt these things, in other words, if he was to attempt this this disguise roll or whatever it is, deceive roll, if when he fails that, can I then, or another player then, like, interject and say, well, as a response to, like, when that happens, I'm going to do this to try to change the, help things or whatever it might be, or is it an immediate response thing, or does that one roll that he makes just kind of dictate what happens for that scene?
Well, I'll tell you how I normally handle it, and this is fate leaves it pretty open on how you want to do that. Normally, I would do it is if he rolled okay but not great, I would say that. If he failed badly, you would notice that the disguise was pretty poor. But in either case, certainly if he tried to hide it using deceive, if somebody else wanted to do it, they would have to use a different approach. You'd have to use magic to hide it, or come up with another way to conceal it, other than the sort of standard deceive, hiding it instant amongst things. That's my general approach. Is you can try it again, but you have to come at it from a different way.
Okay, so if I was just to say, I want to use magic, some sort of enchantment right now to make us all appear that we're dressed like the other bards, and that nobody would see our weapons, that would be just like one simple roll, and either it works or it doesn't.
Well, I would actually break that into 2 rolls. I would have the hiding the weapons as one thing, and I would actually have magical disguise as another. That would be the way I would break that up.
Okay.
So how do you guys want to proceed then?
Yeah, I think that's obviously what I'm leading up to, is that I should try to do that before we get any any further along, I think.
All right. So let's have you roll for your magical disguise of your compatriot's dress.
Okay, so that's a +3.
Oh, look at that. So straight 3. So your outfits look okay. They don't appear particularly false. You've got a 3 is what someone is going to have to break through to be able to see through your disguise. Now, did one of you others want to try and conceal the weapons, or do you want to also use magic for that?
I don't know that I have. Yeah, I have stealth, but I don't know if that would necessarily be applicable.
Stealth.
Probably his magic is probably better.
I can't do worse than that. Come on, let's try. Hold on, guys. Let me take care of that.
Famous last word.
Like now we're all dressed like bards, but you guys have weapons like hanging off you too.
Mm-hmm.
It's just in case we play some rough clubs. You guys would be surprised.
Right.
The skills that you could use to hide would be deceive or burglary. Would be the two that would, I think, be most appropriate for that.
Okay, I have burglary, so I might try to conceal. I have no idea what kind of weapons we would take in, but maybe I could, instead of taking like drumsticks, I would take some metallic sticks with me to use them as a weapon if need.
I have to.
Okay.
Bring my
So
bow.
you've got your standard daggers. We'll assume that you'll figure out a way to kind of wrap up the bow to cover it, like it's gear, something like that. Okay. Let's have you make that burglary roll.
Okay. That will be a +2.
Okay. So it's decent. You've got them hidden away. Assuming that they believe your bard disguise, then the question of the weapon should be probably won't go onto the table. Now you can always spend a fate point to re-roll or to add to that if you wanted.
I probably need those points inside, so I'll leave it at that.
No, and yet, okay. So let me tell you, this is the trick when you're playing Fate as the GM, is you want to play off the player's ego as much as possible and try to get them to spend their points. But okay, so we've got weapons disguised.
Oh, I have a question about getting those points back with our trouble aspects.
Sure.
Are these something that we should actively try to get into the game, or how do the troubles work?
So the troubles can work in two ways. Either you can go, okay, I do need to get some more points back. So in this next scene, you know, when something's happening, you might say, well, when I try and do this, one of the, you know, I see somebody from the Thieves Guild that spots me, and that's a way to you know, create a complication. Or I, as a GM, can throw that in and offer you a fate point.
Okay, let's. I'll spend a fate point to add to the roll.
Okay. Yeah. So I'll grab another one of Edwin's fate points. Delicious. I will put that over there.
So I get +4. Yeah.
Okay. You've got musical instruments. You have magical disguise to make yourselves look like these bards, and they have a lot of different ones. And you've got the weapons concealed away pretty well. I assume now you guys are going to make your way up to the castle.
Preferably within a crowd of people, obviously, hopefully.
Yeah.
Okay.
If we can time it just right.
All right. I think this is going to be a deceive roll, essentially to not draw attention to yourself more than usual. So this is sort of a couple of part things. You guys have done your disguises. The next part of the challenge is deceive. So who wants to make that roll for the group?
I forgot to take that, so.
Okay. Well, then let's do it. Let's do it as stealth. Who wants to make a stealth roll? We'll do it that way.
Stealth.
Yeah, I have +4.
Oh yeah, you go for it. You better.
Okay. This is about you kind of keeping the group in,
Trying to
behind some other bards, concealed. That.
We're trying to talk with the other bards and maybe steal some notes while we're steal some songs from them, and while we're doing that, and trying to get in with the crowd of bards.
All right.
6.
Oh yeah. You guys blend in with the bards that are coming in. No one thinks twice about that as you're coming up the way. You can see it's getting on dusk, so they're starting to light the torches in the courtyard. You can smell the roasting of, they've got pigs out on the pit. There's all kinds of tuning going on as you guys come in. The guards are going to take a casual look at you, essentially because you've stealthed in, there aren't going to be extra attention on you. So let's see. Okay, so there's maybe that moment when one of the guards, his eye perhaps lingers a little longer on Lucian. Like maybe he got a note from somebody about a suspicious figure in town earlier today. He's kind of looking at you, and you guys will be able to get in, and you're certainly in this courtyard, but you'll see definitely one of the guards kind of move off. Maybe he's got his hackles up. Maybe he's a little nervous.
Okay, so quick question about how some of the way the fate points are spent.
Sure.
Of course, I understand the re-roll 4DF, but that I can't make you re-roll with that.
No.
Okay, and the add +2, do you do that before or after you roll?
After.
Okay, cool. And change situation. Can I change this situation right now?
Well, let me tell you what the aspects are on the situation right now.
Okay.
So when you come into here, generally when you go into a scene as a GM, especially when there's going to be some stuff that you guys can interact with, a GM will put down what they call situation aspects. I'm going to put 3 of those on the table here. Put noisy crowds for 1, and we're going to put I'm going to do this right. Flickering torchlight, and let's see what another one is. Wine is flowing. Okay, so that's the situation in the courtyard. There are 3 aspects on that. Now, situation aspects are interesting because you can invoke those once, each of them, for free. If you want to add a bonus to a roll, or re-roll, or even to add a situational detail. So let me come back to you on this, Kyle. You're thinking about, you want to do something about this guard. What are you thinking?
Okay, so using one of those aspects, like maybe the flickering torchlight that he or no, because he doesn't know what I look like anyhow. I think noisy crowds maybe distract him, and he loses. He kind of just like forgets that he even noticed Lucian.
Okay, that seems like a reasonable thing. So we're going to say that you've invoked that one, and so that one is kind of used then, and I can freehand through that, so I'll do quick through there. So the noisy crowds one is still available. You can spend a fate point on it, but the free use is gone. Essentially, you spend that use of it, and you say, okay, well, we've used up the noisy crowds. he's distracted. There's shouting. Maybe there's a little bit of a fight going on, and he was maybe going to go and tell somebody about you, but now he has to go and break up this brawl that's going on over here, and so on. So it looks like there's sort of 4 parts to the gathering in the courtyard. There's the actual sort of bandstand for the bards over on one side. It looks like there's the guest area that they've actually got sort of tents set up, and it looks like that's being arrayed more nicely. It looks like there's a section where maybe some of the guards and her sort of mercs are drinking and talking. And then there's the area where the household staff is doing things, getting set up at the tables and cooking stuff, and fires are going on over there and all that sort of thing. So how do you guys want to proceed?
Maybe we should ask when the battle begins if we have time to look around before that. Or, yeah.
Okay. Well, you'll ask somebody about that, and they will say you'll need to talk to the vizier, and they'll point to a bald guy with a big stack of papers and so on, who seems to be organizing things. And they'll direct you over to him, and you walk over. He looks incredibly harried and under pressure as you guys approach, and he will introduce himself as Vizier Bunkpest. And he's like, and you are who was it? What's the name of your band? Gathering.
Oh, crap.
We are known as One Direction.
One Direction. Excellent. That's all right.
One Direction, no exits.
No exit. Oh. You're very existential. So he will look, and the other set, he's kind of looking through his rolls, but he kind of doesn't really care, and he'll say, music is going to be starting soon. You're not on the list, so I have to put you at the end.
Well, that's okay. We're waiting for our 4th member to arrive. He seems to be late. Have you seen him? He carries a large cello.
No, I haven't seen a cellist here. That's a difficult instrument to carry. I'm sure I would have noticed that. And he goes on, and essentially, as soon as he can kind of dismiss you guys, he will send you off, tell you to register with another person to get your name in. You know that typically for bards, you don't want to go last in the evening because everybody is drunk, and things get thrown more heavily. So that's why he's kind of set you at the very end. You can see that they have the bandstand that they're getting set up. You can see that they're are getting a kind of a wire mesh to protect the band during performances and so on. And there are some judges, and you'll be directed to Master Simon, who will get your names down and register you and tell you, don't go into the castle. Stay around here. When we call for you, you have to be up on stage in 5 minutes. The prize is a bag of gold for the one who was chosen as the finest performers this evening. And you're allowed a portion of food, but only once. If I get word that anyone is abusing the privileges, then certainly you'll be thrown out on your ear.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
Any questions?
Yeah, actually, I have one question. I was
yes.
We got booked in here quite last minute, so I have no idea what kind of party is this. Is this a wedding, maybe? Is there some kind of wedding going on?
Yes, there's some sort of wedding going on tomorrow, and this is the celebration for that. And he'll point over. The Contessa points to the tents, is putting it on. It's her daughter's wedding.
Ah, I
Don't
understand.
go near the nobles.
No, of course not. that would be.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, you're unwashed and all that,
Okay, thank you.
And he will dismiss you at that point. There are a lot of bards here. There's a lot of alcohol. There a lot of eating and so on. People are going over and abusing the privileges of the craft service table for the bards.
Does it appear that, just to make sure, this is where we'll be playing at? Are there already guests here, or is this only the bards?
It looks like there's a bandstand here that will. It's sort of facing out. The bards are kind of in a pen, a kind of a bard kennel behind the bandstand there. They've got some fencing set up to hold and corral.
We call that the VIP section, man.
Yes. And it looks like the bards will just play, and they haven't paid any attention to acoustics or anything like that. They're just going to play and hope that the sound fills the courtyard.
I guess what I'm wondering is the whole event taking place here, or are the guests like elsewhere right now doing something else, and just they haven't. This is only like a portion of the whole entire event.
Why don't you make a notice check for me?
I'm going to. I just got a thing that said I got disconnected from the server, but as long as you can still hear me and see me.
Yep, I can still hear you.
I
think it was just a Roll20 thing.
Did you say it was investigation?
Notice, actually, for this.
I'm sorry? Notice.
Notice.
Sorry.
Oh, okay. It looks to you like the second tier guests, essentially the merchants from town and the people who are here just to kind of make a presence for themselves. They're out in that tent, and then there's actually, you can see there's more guards, and it's sort of, you have the sense that in the great hall inside is where the more VIP nobles and probably the Contessa and so on, where they are.
So that's where we got to get.
I'm wondering
How do you want to proceed?
If the prince is actually up there, or if he's being stored somewhere else.
Or we just try and hold out here until they show up, assuming that they're going to parade him around. I mean, they're not going to have this engagement celebration or whatever this is the night before the wedding and not have the groom there, right?
I was thinking maybe we could try to contact the princess, and like we being bards, that might give us a edge because we're like the rock stars of that time, and try to influence her to get into contact with the prince somehow.
Oh, do we think that she's opposed to this prearranged wedding?
No. I mean, that doesn't matter really. I just try to get into contact with her and say, play the card that we are some famous band, and through that try to get access to the prince through her.
So there's sort of two parts of that. One is knowing who might be a famous bards that could be called upon and invoked as their names. And the other part would be deceiving her once you got to her, right?
Yeah. That I think the deceiving part would have to be someone else.
Well, someone can make a lore check to see if you can come up with a bard of high standing that you could evoke the name of.
Yeah, I'll think on that.
Okay.
At least we can name drop if nothing else.
Or I could use. Yeah.
All right. Is that a 1 there is your total?
Yep, that is the actual official total.
You know, you're a mage, and, you know, you've tracked shadow beasts and so on.
Yeah.
The minor pop culture is not on your high on your list, and so you're unfamiliar with that.
I still think Frank Sinatra is like cool.
Yeah.
Oh, I just can't seem to think. I mean, I just think that they're gonna have the prince locked up somewhere, and now would be the best time since everyone seems to be out here. But
yeah, I mean, we can certainly drop the whole charade of being bards if we can look at another way to gain access to the next past the next barrier for sure.
because we're at the bottom of the list, so it's going to be a while before they call upon us. So that's actually a positive thing. They're not going to be looking for us for now.
Right.
If we could find and we have a map of the castle, and we know some of the gaps in the guards that we could possibly find out where they might be. I mean, from looking at the maps, do we have a general idea where he might be kept? Is there anything that looks?
Do you want to
obviously not
invoke
labeled?
Yeah.
the maps of the guards to narrow that down for yourselves?
Yeah,
Either that or looking at the map. Yeah.
Sounds like a good idea. Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right. So, taking a look at the map and now having seen, where people are positioned and so on, and kind of getting guess, you guess that there is a set of small, like the torture chamber dungeon. Essentially, that is close by, essentially the ducal room. It's kept isolated. If, for example, the Countess wanted to bring the prince up into the Great Hall to show him off, she would probably keep him there. Just because it isn't in the greater dungeon, it's fairly close by. It's a place that makes the most sense to keep him. And you guys kind of have looked at the maps, and based on that judgment, you think that's probably the place.
Can you say again what's the room called? What was it? A room?
Essentially, it's the dungeon for the torture chamber.
Okay.
Essentially, a set of small holding cells that are there. They're close by, and they're just off from what would be, you're guessing, the sort of study for the Countess. That does mean to get to that, you do need to get into the castle proper and move through there.
Yeah, I'm all for trying to just take advantage of what Eladron has noticed and rely on him to get us through this gap in the guards.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you guys want to try and sneak in to the castle proper, right? Get past the guards here and get into the castle proper.
No time like the present.
Are you dropping the bardic disguise, or is that?
I mean, is that something that I have to concentrate on, I guess, or I mean, is it affecting? I don't know how that's going to affect anything else. That's what I'm not sure. Like, with it being so broad based, like, what is? It's just kind of up to how you want to portray it. I mean,
generally, when I do magic, is say a longer lasting effect like that will last for a scene.
Yep, that's cool. We can do it. Why not? It's all or nothing. Yeah.
So let's have each of you make stealth rolls.
Sweet. I'm not totally inept at this, but
okay.
Better than a 0.
Okay.
5.
5. Okay. And William? 3?
3.
Okay.
Oh, I forgot to leave my cowbell behind. I'm like
Yeah.
counting as I go.
So now, Kyle, you do have the option. You do have a few aspects that are on the table. Do you want to invoke one of those, or use a fate point to bump that?
Yeah, I think I'll just. I'm sorry. Let me scroll up and see what I actually had 2 pluses there. Though. Wait, and how did I only get 1 if I had? Oh, 2 pluses and 2 minuses.
Yeah, 2 pluses is 0 and a minus. Yeah.
Is it worth or doing a total reroll here, or is that's about an average roll,
Probably.
right?
Well, what's your
middle of the road?
Yeah. That's middle of the road. So it's 50-50 on whether it's going to be better or worse if you reroll.
Right.
+2 would give you up to at least a 3, so that'd make you like us, about the average.
Can I change the situation to have something that's like louder and more obnoxiously obvious than us, distract anybody that might be watching?
Yeah, and that would be actually that would act as the +2. I mean, you didn't need any situation. You can have the situation assist you.
Okay.
So now you could spend a point and invoke noisy crowds, or if you want to use for free one of the aspects that hasn't been tagged, you can use that.
Now let's leave those there. We might need that gap in the guards again later, so I'll just go with use a point for a +2.
Okay, and what are you going to be saying you're using it on?
I'm sorry.
What are you tagging for that? The crowds?
As a fate point, to just add, I have to choose one of those for.
Yeah. Essentially, whenever you do that, you're invoking an aspect. It has to be your aspect that's relevant to the situation.
Okay, sure.
There's something from your own skills or something on the table.
Yep, the noisy crowds again then, so that like maybe like somebody crashed into something and knocked down a tent or whatever in the barred area behind us.
So with the 3s, you guys are able to make it. It does take a little bit longer than you would like, and you aren't able to get as close as you would like once you get into the castle to those chambers. Essentially, you've got 2 other areas to move through, and you have a couple of options for how you want to do that. You definitely have to move through the kitchens, and then there are some other approaches you can try. Once you get past the kitchens, you can either try to go sort of up higher, or you can essentially try to go essentially through some of the servants' tunnels to get over to that area. So you've got a couple of obstacles there. How do you guys want to proceed?
I think it's probably, well, my thinking is the servant area, just because there's a better chance to blend in as opposed to being the only ones in wherever you said to go higher up.
Okay.
That's my 1 out of 3 votes.
No, that sounds good.
Is your goal to kind of move through like you belong here, or is your goal to sneak around?
Definitely sneak around for me.
Okay.
So I think I'm going to sneak because I typically don't belong anywhere, and I usually stand out because I am a stranger.
Absolutely.
So yeah, trying to avoid being noticed as much as possible.
So let's everybody make. Gotten into the castle, moving around. There's still people around. Haven't been spotted. Have to move along. Let's have another stealth roll from everybody.
It's gonna go wrong at some point. 2 for me.
Okay.
4 for me.
4 for you.
And 2 for me. A 2.
2? Okay. Oh, okay. So the place is noisy, crowded. The staff is clearly hired in a bunch of extra people, so there's crowds going everywhere around in here, and you guys will be able to kind of make it past, keeping to the corners, moving to the back stairways of this kitchen. There are some guards in there, kind of watching over things, but not paying too much attention because the wine is flowing. And you guys will make it down into the servants' passage and make your way along and come up into the section that is close by the quarters. And you will see that you're not all that far away from the Great Hall. You can see that there's at the end of the hall you're seeing is a grand staircase that goes up. The double doors lead to the Great Hall, and you're here, and you can see the doors of the study, and you'll see that there are a couple of guards outside the doors of the study.
Oh, why didn't I take deceive or disguise or anything that begins with a D?
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, are the guards blocking us from where we actually want to get to?
It looks like it. So what you need to do is you need to get past these guards into the study and go through those doors to get down to where the prince, you believe, is being held.
Okay.
Now, just to double check our parameters, because this may decide what we do,
Sure.
we wanted it not to be noticed that the prince was missing. That's necessarily
Right.
from the town we're coming from, not from here.
Correct.
Because it's obviously they're gonna know that we took the prince back. Was there any instructions as far as don't kill or just try to lessen that, or?
The main instructions were don't kill the prince.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay. So if we have to kill the guards, if there's no other way around this, then it's not like breaking our mission parameters.
Oh yeah, Clive had no care about you slaughtering the people in the castle.
Well, guys, I don't know what y'all think, but I mean, if they haven't noticed this yet, I could, snipe one of them at least, and hopefully take them down without noise. But that leaves a second guard to try to deal with.
Yeah, well, apparently I've killed before, so maybe I'll be able to do it now too.
Maybe we could be a little less conspicuous, gentlemen. If these guards were just to suddenly decide to take a quick nap, we could sneak by and nobody would be the wiser. 2 sleeping guards is always better than 2 dead guards.
I agree. Actually, that's
Yeah.
if you can accomplish that, please do. I'll be ready for backup just in case. But yeah.
All right, so you want to essentially, on 2 people, you want to create a sleeping aspect that's creating an advantage, essentially that they're going to try and resist. They'll resist with will against that, and you want to get more shifts because you're trying to affect more targets. So you want to beat what they get for their will roll by at least 2. So these are standard guards, so I have a total of 1. So you're going to want to get with a total of at least 3, if not better.
No problem. There you go. Good night, Irene.
What was your total there? Because my thing is delayed on the thing.
I'm sorry, it's a 5.
Oh. So see him conjure, concentrate, and he will cast that spell. So we've got a 5, so that's a shift of 4 shifts. So what I'm going to say is one of those shifts keeps it quiet, and another shift of your margin of success goes to hitting the extra target, and then there's 2 more, so boom, they will slide to the floor quietly.
Nice.
What are you 2 doing? When they hit the floor, what are you 2 doing?
I am. Well, I'd look to our thief and ask him to try to open the door.
Oh, the door's not open. Okay. Yeah. Obviously. Okay, we need to get in fast and take the guards with us. Probably, not leave them sleeping on the hallway.
Okay. So
True.
Edwin, let's have a burglary roll from you, and Eldarin, let's have a stealth roll from you.
4.
Okay. Very nice. And Eladron?
Yeah, I'm not happy with that one.
Do you want to
I
spend a
don't
fate
know.
point?
I think I do.
Okay.
The mysterious ways of a ranger allows me to step lightly.
Ah, okay. Elven Lightfoot there. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'll steal one of your points there. Okay.
That'll bring that to 3. Okay, yeah.
So you guys get to the door. There's a quick thing where Edwin, you get the keys up, get the doors open. You guys are quiet. Drag these people into the room. Shut it behind you. Make your way over to the sort of secret door that you had marked on your map. Open that up with your burglary roll, and you can see that there are stone stairs that lead down. You can see it goes down 1 flight, and you can see there's flickering torchlight down there, and it's clearly the small dungeon down there. Who wants to go first? Don't everybody talk at once.
I'll go first. And waving the other 2 guys on, like, yes, absolutely, after you.
Again, these famous traps that don't immediately go off, only after the second person goes.
So you have this little debate at the top of the stairs. I don't. What do you want to do?
I'll draw my bow, and I don't mind going first. Oh, okay.
Okay.
Good.
All right, Edwin. Why don't you make a notice roll for me?
Okay. 1.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. You will come down. You stop at the base of the stairs. You look. You can see that there are a couple of chambers in here, and you see that there is your classic loincloth wearing, leather pants, sweaty, bald prison guard sitting there kind of chuckling as he's eating his piece of roast mutton, and you can see across from him is a very bedraggled and sad-looking Prince Ruprecht, his beard untidy, his hair mussed, his clothing, clearly disheveled, and he's kind of staring longingly at the mutton on the jailer's plate. What do you want to do?
Okay.
Oh, hang on. I have to actually roll for Ruprecht here. Okay. Ruprecht does not notice you.
Okay. What should I do? I was thinking maybe maybe act as some kind of from the Countess. She sends wine to the jail, to the dungeons for the prison keeper to because of the.
That sounds like a great plan.
Yeah.
Make a deceive roll.
Oh yeah, deceive I don't have. but I was thinking maybe I could use the wine is flowing. That I
Okay.
grab some bottles with me. Would
I'll let
that
you make
be
your deceive roll, and you can use that to get yourself a +2.
okay? 1.
Okay. So you will come down, and you'll get up close, and I'll assume that Eldrin and Lucian, you guys have come down the stairs a little bit to kind of follow
Yeah.
up behind, but staying out of sight.
Trying
And
to, yeah.
you get up with the wine bottle on this fellow, and he's kind of looking at that, and then you see him kind of look closer and realize that you're not wearing any of the livery of the guards, and he goes to rise and grab his essentially jailer's cudgel. What do you want to do?
I would.
So yeah, go ahead, William.
Let's start with Edwin, who's closest, and then we'll move back.
Okay.
Okay. Sure.
Could I use I mean, try to convince him that yeah, I am who I told I am by using a stunt, and that is always a way out.
Ah, okay. And what that is?
The problem is
let's see.
it's a burglary roll, so I'm not. That's maybe pushing it a bit.
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna let you. I'm gonna let you try that. So essentially, it'll be. I'll let you make it a deceive roll with a +2.
Okay. So I'll talk with him and try to. Yeah, hey, I'm not here to cause any troubles. I brought you some wine. Is that should?
And what was your total there?
Oh shit, -1. Okay, I will use a fate point to reroll.
Your last fate point you will spend, and you're invoking which one?
Yeah. Sorry.
Good taste.
Yeah, I'm saying that this wine is not just any wine. It's something very special from the town where we came from. I don't know the name actually where we came from, but it's
Gravelton.
Okay, yeah, it's a
All right,
Gravelton.
so let's see your reroll.
It's still with the +2.
Yep.
Okay.
It's a Gravelton of 08.
2. Starts drinking it. What are you doing, Elderon? So let's say you're next on the stairway. You see this jailer seems to be drinking the wine that has been brought.
Now that he's actually buying it, I was going to disarm him, but if it looks like a subterfuge might actually work, I'm holding off. But my thought is, if he doesn't buy it and starts to attack, I'm going to use a called shot on his weapon and try to disarm him.
Okay.
And kind of pause and see how he goes.
All right, so we'll say that you're aiming.
Mm.
Okay. And aiming is a create advantage. So go ahead and make a shoot roll for me.
Okay. +4.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
So
5.
you've got this guy dead to rights. That's a succeed with style there. So you've got an aim on him that you can invoke as a reroll or a +2 if you go to shoot him. Okay.
Okay.
So that's an aspect that's on the table. And what about Lucian? Are you still kind of waiting there, preparing anything?
Actually, yeah, he's kind of like staying back, but also looking to see if there's another way out of this room besides the way we came in.
Okay. Why don't you make a notice check for me?
Okay. 3 notices +3.
Okay. There is another secret door, kind of looking at this room and having looked at the map before. It might be locked, but there's definitely a secret passage that you think you guys might be able to use out of here. You see the line on the floor, the way the bookshelf is set up. It definitely looks like that's an option for you.
Okay.
Okay. So, Edwin, this jailer you're talking with, he's drinking, blah blah blah. What are you trying to do?
Did Eldron hit him? Did I understand
Eldrin has
right?
not shot him yet. No. There's that
Okay.
moment where you're like waiting for something to happen, and
Yeah, I'm this wine. Yeah, I know that it was quite a strong wine, so I'm making some. I'm talking with the jail guard and
okay.
seeing how he's if he's still there, so to say.
You're trying to get him drunk, is what you're trying to do. Get him.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that's a rapport roll.
Okay. 2.
I'll give you a +1 for essentially the decent wine that we established before. That seems reasonable. So we'll say 3. So it'll take some time, but as he's drinking the wine and chatting with you, he will lower down into the seat and kind of see him drink, and then he starts to slur his words, and it's very strong. Pour it, and he does get a little sleepy there. Maybe starts to in his chair.
Okay, as soon as he starts doing that, I'll go to the Prince Rupert and try to
unlock that.
Yeah.
Okay, you open the door, and Prince Rupert opens his arms, and he runs across and grabs the wine bottle. And he's
okay, I'll try to.
Cheeks.
I'll stop that. And say,
no! It's just a little bit more, please.
Prince, you will get the whole bottle as soon as we get out from here. That's a price of getting out of here.
Oh yes. He seemed to pick up the mutton.
You have to wait.
Starts gnawing on the bone there. All right, let me, though, set something up here. Let's do this. Okay. Just to demonstrate here how this works.
Get a feeling we're not being paid enough.
Okay. Okay. Let me do this real quick. All right, so right now I'm going to put some things on the table here real quick. I'm going to say that this is you, Eldrin, and I just putting that stairs down, and we'll put mage right there, and we will put a thief down here, and we'll put the guy that you have with you is here, and you guys will hear behind you, Lucian, guards come in, and they seem upset.
And we're still like right in the room where he was being held captive, right?
Yeah, you guys are on the stairs going down into the jail, and you will see 2 guards come in, and let me get this figure here. Where's the other? Let's get the other guy up here. Looks like two sort of general guards and an angry-looking, maybe captain of the guard figure. So the way initiative works in Fate is we go in notice order. So what's everybody's notice?
+3.
+3.
+2.
+2. +2. Okay. All right. So guard, camp, and then those two, and then mook. Okay. And let me put very quickly text. Scene aspects are bookshelves. Let's see. Carpeting and candelabras. Okay, so those are the 3 situational aspects right now. So Kyle, are you there?
Yes.
Okay, so Kyle, you kind of look back up the stairs, and you will see that there's a guard captain and 2 guys have come in. What do you want to do?
And we haven't. I mean, I assume that we like at least know what's going on down in the other room, and that he has the prints and all that.
The glug of Ruprecht desperately drinking, and the sound of the jail. You're like, okay, we're just about to get him out when the doors come open.
Right. Okay, so I mean, I don't want to try to just completely avoid this combat so we can kill something, but my thoughts are trying to close the door between us and them to buy us time to try and get that other door open.
Well, so the other door is over here, and this is the area that you're in. So this is the study up here.
Okay, so I got you. I found the secret door back in the other room behind us. I see now. That makes more sense. Okay, so
we have to face him. Okay.
That's a different story. Let's not beat around the bush then. Obviously, we're found out. So Lucian is just going to try to harness the flames of the candelabra and have them strike out at the big guy in the middle.
Okay, so this is an attack. You use magic for your attack roll. It's a ranged attack, so he has to use athletics as his defense roll against this. So I will go ahead and roll his athletics against your magic roll. So I've got a 4. You go ahead and roll your magic roll.
Ooh.
Wow.
Okay. So you've got 1 margin. Did you want to use the candelabras to give yourself the +2 on that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's a margin of 3. That means he takes 3 points. So he has to figure out a way to deal with those 3 points. He has 3 stress boxes. So in order to take care of those, I will mark off his number 3 stress box.
Okay.
Because in order to deal with all those points, I have to spend it. I can only mark 1 box off at a time. So that puts him in a situation. After that, you have to take some consequences, and I'll talk about what that does. So you will hit him, and flames will shoot out and will strike at him. He will move forward. He can do that freely in this room. He couldn't move more than 2 because there's a lot of clutter and desks and things. So he can do that free move into the next zone. And you will see him, as you kind of step up, he will pull out a dagger and fling it at you.
Ouch.
Okay, so you're going to need to make an athletics roll against his shoot here.
Uh-oh.
Oof.
Ducking, not ducking fast enough.
Okay. Do you want to invoke anything, or...
Oh, my aspects are horribly thought out. I think, yeah, Secret Protector is not going to help at this point. I don't know what I would do in this situation, honestly.
Okay. Well, because we're playing this just as free, what I might do if I were you is I might actually use those bookshelves.
Oh, okay, so I can still go to something else there. I see what
Yeah,
you're saying.
and duck
Okay.
behind those as it comes in. It'll reduce your damage. So you could spend a point and invoke it and pay for it, or you could use it for free.
Yeah, let's, I'll do the free use on it, I guess.
Okay, so I will cross that out. It's still, you can still pay points for it, but its free use is gone. All right, so the captain is gone. The next person on the stairs is Eldron. What do you want to do?
I could. Well, I don't see an aspect that I could throw in the scene because I could use called shot, but.
Sure.
But you could basically use bookshelves, carpeting, and candelabras. All of the aspects where you have to pay for that.
Yeah.
How did that work? If you pay for those with
So
your fate
carpeting
points?
is still available to be used for free. The other ones you can spend fate points to use.
Ah, okay.
What about well, who was the one that the
Through the dagger,
yeah,
that was the noble there.
the noble.
So imagine it like a green arrow effect. You mean you could try and pin him to the wall. You could catch his sword in his sheath so he can't draw that. However you want to do that.
I guess disarm would be an aspect that I could add.
Sure. Okay.
Okay.
Let's
do that as one of the. I'm going to use called shot.
Okay.
I'm going to attack one of the characters who has not quite drawn his weapon, is about to draw the weapon, and I'm going to actually pin his hand to his scabbard as he's trying to draw.
Okay.
So he can draw the weapon.
So we'll go against one of these guys back here. Go ahead and make your shooting roll versus, we'll say, the rogue guy.
And that is shoot. +4. Oh, really? Okay.
Okay. Is that what you're sticking with? Or are you spending a point to boost it?
I think I'm going to just spend a point to boost it because I want to make sure he stays.
Okay.
So, yeah.
All right.
Elven Ranger.
So you will fire that. You'll spend that point, and you will hit this guy here.
Mm-hmm.
And he will stagger back. He's taken then 3 points of damage. He'll mark off his 2 wound box, and he'll have to take a consequence. So he is bleeding as a consequence, which you can invoke against him.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, he has pinned hand, so he can't get his sword out of his sheath.
Okay.
So he's going to be struggling with that on his round. And he will stagger against the wall. Edwin, what do you want to do?
Yeah, I don't have any shooting skills, and I'm thinking I probably need to stand back and protect Prince Rupert at this point, before when they're still not on melee range. So yeah, I'll go to the door. I don't know if I can.
Sure. So we can move you onto the base of the stairs. Is that what you like to do, or do you want to try and? Okay.
Yeah. With Prince and have Prince Rupert stand behind me and get ready to do some melee combat.
So we'll assume that you are kind of doing a full defense, move up, and protecting him. And a full defense gives you a +2 on any defense checks that would come up. Okay. This other guy will move, and he will roll to get through the room, and he will move over to here, and he will also throw a hatchet at the archer, since he saw the archer put an arrow in his buddy.
Mm.
So you're going to resist with athletics against this.
Okay, so athletics.
Yes.
Oh man. Okay. Ooh. Okay.
Okay. So, do you have anything you can invoke? We've just got the carpet in here, it looks like.
Yeah, and I'm probably trying to save that for Edwin, just the free evoke for him.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I will. I'm a little sturdier than the other guy, so I'll take it this time.
Okay. Do you want? So you'll mark the 3 box off of your physique.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that means you've dealt with all the potential damage from that. So you've
Yes.
still got your 1, your 2, and your 4 stress box. All right. So that was the other mook. This guy, the rogue, has to spend his round essentially trying to overcome the aspect that was put on him, and he's essentially struggling, trying to get his hand out of out of his side and out of the arrow over there. Let's come back to the top of the round and Lucian.
Okay, I'm sorry. So this guy here in the center was dead, right?
Nope, he's still up.
Oh, geez.
He's just burnt.
Okay, he's just burnt.
He's angry and burnt.
Yeah.
He's gonna go next.
I'd like to move.
Okay.
And that dang door is not going to be safe. So I'm going to step back over to here, where that door is.
Okay. So that is within the same zone. So that is a free move. You can still take an action.
Okay, let's
Fireball. No.
yeah.
No. Blow us all up.
So none of these guys are like even taken care of yet. Okay.
The rogue up here has taken some damage, and so has the noble.
And this is not, this guy here is. Oops, sorry.
He's untouched. He threw a hatchet at your buddy, the archer.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, let's do the candelabra trick again.
Another flame blast.
Yep, that's probably the best thing I can come up with on short notice.
Against the noble or against the duelist?
The same guy that I already hit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see you roll.
Only a 2 that time, though.
Okay, and do you want to spend the fate point to add the +2?
Yeah, I think I do. Definitely.
All right. So he will take 3 points. He can only mark off his 2 box, so he has to eat the rest of it as a consequence. So essentially, let's say that you will this time let off the flame and catch him with that. And he will be blinded on this round. He'll have to recover from that. Does that seem reasonable?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I have a question on here because combat was something that I didn't quite understand before. So
Sure.
I understand if it's you only get to check off 1 box. So
Right.
if it's above, you check off the box and that minuses, and you take the remainder as a consequence.
Yep.
In this case, he didn't have a 3, so wouldn't you said it checked off the 2?
So I took off the 2, so I have 1 point left, which I'll eat as a consequence.
Okay, so it can go down or up either way.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
So I could. I honestly, if I was being smart, I would have checked off the 1 box and then used a minor consequence to eat the other 2 points.
Okay, I see.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So he is badly hurt by that, and so he will spend his round essentially his action clearing that blinding there. So he's working on that. We come to you, Eldarin.
Okay. I've gotten the rogue taken care of for a little bit. The noble is hurt. Duelist is closest, though. You know what? Let me finish off the noble.
Okay, that's probably a good call. Okay, go ahead and make that roll.
Even though that duelist is getting too close for comfort, but we'll deal with that in a minute. 2.
Okay. Now, you can, because you're firing at him, he has that blinded on him, you can invoke that against him.
Is it a free invoke?
It's a free invoke. It's a one-use free invoke because he's got that blinded. Do you want to use it for a reroll or a +2?
For a reroll, yeah, because that's too many negatives. That's worth a reroll. 40, yeah. Considering I can get a +8. Oh my goodness, +6, really?
Oh, all right. So he will stagger back, but the arrow will sink into the woodwork and not into him.
He just, the comedic bends down out of pain and the arrow flies over his head.
Yeah. So this rogue will finish, since he didn't clear that last time, we'll clear that out. That's his action. This duelist guy will see that there's an archer, and he will move to kind of... actually, wait. That mage fired that fire blast. He is going to step and swing at the mage.
He doesn't see me. I'm over here, all away from him and stuff.
Now, the way we've defined this, if you want, you can use magic for defense. You can use it as a defend roll against an attack if you want to do it that way. So he's going to take his fight roll on you, and you can roll magic or athletics or fight as a defense against that.
Okay, so the physique has nothing to do with overcome. Like I couldn't try to overcome him with physique or anything. Okay.
No, right now you're working about what you want to do for defense.
Right. I'll definitely try to make him trip and fall as he moves towards me. Using magic.
All right, so roll your magic against that as a defense roll. Okay. So you will cast that, and he will stumble a little bit, but he will just catch you. So you've got 4 stress boxes, a 1, a 2, a 3, and a 4, I think, for your physique, right? We're looking on Lucian's character sheet. Yeah. Oh, no, so you've got a 1, a 2, and a 3. So he's done 1 point to you, so you would mark off the 1 box.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
Yeah. You get to mark off 1 box to deal with each damage. Anything else has to be done as sort of a consequence aspect that's on you.
Gotcha.
So he's done that. We come to Edwin. Edwin, what do you want to do?
I was thinking maybe the rogue in the corner notices me, being also from the Thieves Guild, and getting some kind of that he gets some kind of advantage because he really hates me now because he notices me and.
Awesome, awesome. So I will give him an enraged free invoke aspect against you as he sees you come up the stairs. I'll give you a fate point for that. What do you want to do?
Can I attack the duelist in the back? Because
absolutely, you essentially free move into the zone, and you can make your fight roll against his athletics.
Okay. 2.
Okay. Do you want to spend your fate point on that?
That will be to add 2 more. Yeah, I'll use the fate point.
All right. Easy come, easy go. You will do that. He will take 4 points. That means he'll have to take his 2, and he'll have to take a minor consequence. Essentially, he is staggered. That can be used against him. Essentially, as you hit him in the back, and he will stagger forward from that. Ruprecht wanders up. Got his mutton. He's chewing on that. Let's do one more round, and then we'll kind of wrap here, okay? Let's go, Lucian.
I think he's going to try and just. Okay, I'm just trying to see, like, with the stunt, strength from determination. Can he just try to, like, knock this guy out or something?
So that's under physique, right?
Yeah, but that lets him use his will instead of physique to overcome.
Okay, so yeah, so what you could do is, let's say you wanted to you want to knock this guy down. Do you want to try to physically grapple him? What do you want to do? How are you doing this?
I'm going to clunk him over the head with the cowbell.
Okay, so essentially you are cowbelling him to essentially stun him. So you're going to put an aspect on it. So that's creating an advantage. Go ahead and make your will roll.
Okay. So for will, I get a +4 actually.
Okay.
5.
All right. So right now, this guy here, the duelist, he has staggered from the dagger in his back, and he's got deafened and cowbelled. So he has 3 free invokes that can be used against him. Essentially, you stab him in the back, Edwin, and Lucian smacks him in the head with the cowbell. So he is staggering around. The noble, see, he did the blinded, so he will do that. Noble will, okay, he has to recover from that. So he spends his action recovering from the advantage from last time. I'll have him move into this zone, try and close the gap. And we go to Eldarin.
Okay. Can this handle making like a split shot, trying to shoot the duelist and the noble, trying to take him out?
Absolutely. You split your success value.
Okay. Yeah, let's go for that. We've got some invokes to throw in there if I need.
All right.
So yeah.
So go ahead and make your shoot roll.
4 pluses. Okay.
So you get a margin of 2 because I use the noble as the higher resist value.
Okay.
So now you could invoke the stuff on the duelist to bump up the damage that you would shift to him.
Yeah, do that. Invoke that staggered.
Okay.
And then if I can, invoke the blind off the noble.
Okay. So this guy will fall back, essentially crash against the bookshelf, and the duelist here will drop, crash to the floor after the beating that he just took from you guys. And we come to the rogue is going to make his move across there, but trying to keep some cover since there's a mage with fireballs. And Edwin.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe that we could try to run past him and block the door, but I'm not sure if that's possible.
That would be an athletics check to get past him.
Yeah, but not for the other guys. That was my idea, to take everyone with us and try to just run through the door.
Well, do you want to go through try and open the secret door?
Yeah. Okay. If it's closed, then yeah, I'll try to go and open.
That'll be a burglary check.
And I have a stunt that's this always a way out.
Okay, it gives you a +2 on that check then.
Cool.
So I'm going to roll. Yeah.
Oh.
That's a terrible roll, but still a 2.
You just get the door open, and this is where we would stop, essentially, just because we're at the 5 o'clock time by my thing, and we're at the 3 hour. So you would still have a rogue that was dangerous. The noble is almost out of it. He's on his last consequence, effectively. You guys can drag Ruprecht along and make your way out of the castle at that point. Of course, you've got a rogue there who is probably going to go and call his buddies because he saw you. So if he was free, he might create a problem for you guys later as you try to escape. So that's the basic. This is very much the vanilla version of Fate. It's pretty flexible, and for me, the items that the sort of system mechanics that we use elsewhere from this and that we really like are the aspects, the ability to kind of mechanize the situation and play around with those. And this is the most basic version. There's a lot of different things as you look at the other flavors of that. Do you have any questions?
Yeah. What were the main differences to Fate Accelerated? Was it?
Fate Accelerated uses essentially approaches. So anytime you want to do something,
you do it fast or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And in that case, with Fate Accelerated, then if you're trying to be sneaky, you know that the consequence might be that it takes longer. So there's some choices that you have to make there. And Fate Accelerated also has a very simple stunt formula.
Okay.
There are two ways that you can build a stunt very easily.
So how long have you been? How many games of Fate would you say you've run?
I probably have run about a dozen games of Fate and Fate Accelerated, and then the actual homebrew that we do that uses a lot of Fate elements, I've probably run about 100, 120 sessions of that.
Okay.
Just in the last couple of years on that, since we added aspects as a mechanic.
And how long did it take you to really start going, get it going fluently? I mean, because it is really complex. If you compare it to something like Savage Worlds or something like that, these typical easy to get in systems, I think the aspects make it really quite a it's not quite that easy to get in.
Right. I would say the toughest part is adjudicating those. One of the things I sometimes hear people say is they think Fate is too easy because people can use stuff, but I think in that case the GM isn't putting a lot of pressure on the players. I do think once players get a handle on aspects, they enjoy using them and goofing around with them. There's a lot of good examples. I would say it took me 3 or 4 sessions before I finally figured out how I was comfortable with the aspects in terms of running. And you'll see people handle things differently from table to table, but I think they've kind of given you the most vanilla version of it.
I like the way they work, the aspects work. It is, I'm still not super clear on how everything jives together, but I definitely like having those like situational references that you can pull out, you know, and like here's the situation you're in, and you can use these things to your advantage somehow. And yeah.
Well, and it encourages more so than a number of games setting things up for other people, because one of the major actions is doing that, create an advantage. And to overcome people, you really kind of have to pair that up. Some systems don't do well about how teamwork works. Everybody's chipping away at the same hit point line or whatever. I think Fate actually works pretty well in terms of simulating the way that players can help each other out.
Cool.
And if you guys have any questions later, you know, no, thank you guys. I'm glad to show this off. Is this a little bit different from when you played it before, William?
It was. I think in our game, aspects never got pegged. I mean, they never got used. The GM was not comfortable with it and never said any situational aspects until you know, 4th or 5th game. Just was never comfortable with doing it, and then the players never really used them. So we were just role playing and making skill rolls. And I mean, it worked, but it didn't feel like Fate. So, and this felt more making use of all those things that are available to us.
Yeah, and for some people, I will say this, especially from players I have had who are very tactical with miniatures and things on the table. When I play with minis with aspects, then I'll usually put some situational aspects, but then we also put terrain on the table to kind of blend that, because some people like that more. I like the zones and the freedom that gives.
I'm trying to get used to, because one of our players is really into Dresden Files, and I am as well, and I'm trying to get comfortable to run Dresden. And I know it's pre-Fate Core, so it's a little bit different, but from what I've read, it feels a lot like this. And I probably would just update the rules and use Fate Core rules.
The most important thing about the way that Fate Core operates is that it reduces everything to those 4 kinds of actions. Either you're overcoming something, or creating an advantage, or defending, or attacking, and seeing everything in those modes.
Yeah. Okay.
And if you guys have any questions later on, please feel free to send me an email or send me a geek mail. I'll be glad to answer anything if you guys want help on anything.
Cool.
Thank you, Lawrence. That was really a nice intro to the system.
Good. I'm glad you liked it. And it helped me. I'll get faster at the teaching sessions as I do more of them. All right. Well, I'm gonna end the broadcast here.